remembrance of supposed to learning the history in Math 108, but I had a lot of help from my husband that I barely got through that class. So
no worries. We'll, I mean, we can try and help you as much as we can.
Once you kind of like get it, like it's like once you go through a few things, you kind of understand it a little bit better.
Okay. Yeah, I was just going to open my quiz so that was ready to go.
Okay.
So we're not wasting time getting
So I have a question. Did you guys see like on the announcements page that was like, you guys aren't supposed to be doing whatever together? Was that just for the homework or was that for our quizzes too?
I know we're not supposed to be doing the homework together.
Right.
You said it was on the main page.
Yeah, like the announcements, like right when you hit like on the class. Should be like welcome to week 3.
Yeah, I misunderstood that announcement myself. I was like, because he wasn't specifically calling anybody out.
Mm-hmm.
He was like,
I just want to know how you guys interpret it.
I didn't even really read it. I just see it and I'm kind of like, oh, okay.
well, like I said, I didn't understand what he was trying to say. Was he like saying, I don't.
So is it the first bullet point that he puts there?
I think so, yeah.
So he says, I'm sure you by now understand how this works. Just a reminder, you are expected to go over the work as a team, but then you need to turn in your own work. I hope people do not go over these and then count on the team members to turn in the work for them, since this will not work and you will have a 0. So I would take that to assume like, you know, we probably shouldn't have, for instance, say like Jacob, if you were to answer all 3, like the first 3 questions, we shouldn't be basing our answers off your answer. We should really be doing it, and then whatever we feel is right. Along with that, we all need to turn it in. It's not like a one person does it and then that counts for all of us.
Right.
So I have a question. Like the only thing we're turning in though really is the group quiz, right? Like we're not. There's nowhere to submit these. These are the preparation. This is the preparation assignment.
We don't have to do anything with that. I mean, we go over that right now, but we don't have to turn those in or anything.
Okay, so I'm just. That's where I was like misunderstanding. Like I wasn't sure if I was like missing something because I don't. I mean, every little point will count for me in this class.
I'm gonna go ahead and open the quiz right now.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you guys want to talk about? Let's talk about the preparation real quick. I know it was really.
Okay, this one you will fill this part out during your group preparation session. So this is where it kind of makes sense. Like I can read and be like, oh, find this answer, but like when it asks what notation is used, and it goes over that in the book, the online book. But like we get to 5, it's like the question 5, and then start talking about 8-sided dice and what's the probability of rolling greater than a 5.
So yeah, that's. Did you want to go ahead, Nick? Or?
Yeah. So the probability of rolling a number greater than 5, all it's asking. So you kind of think of what's the probability of rolling a 1 on an 8-sided die.
1 out of 8.
Rolling a 1 out of 8.
Okay.
And so basically doing that, but so you have the probability of rolling a number greater than 5. What numbers are greater than 5 that are on an 8-sided die? You have 6, 7, 8, which are each in their own 1/8, and then you just add all those together and you get 3 8s.
Okay.
And then if you do like just put it into a calculator, you end up getting 0.375.
Okay. So that you know what? Thank you for that explanation because that actually makes sense. Maybe I won't have to go crying to my husband because he'll confuse me even more.
Yeah. And then 6 is kind of the same thing as well. So the only difference is if you really want to make it easier, you know that you're trying to get 5, the probability of not getting a number greater than 5. So you have 1 through 5. So you know that's going to be 5.
5/8.
Right. 5/8.
The rest of the fraction leading up to 1.
Yeah. So it'll just be the opposite. Because, yeah, eventually it all has to equal 1.
Okay. That part I don't understand.
So like that's in like the rules for probability, or like what determines something that can be like probable is like it has to be able to equal 1. So like for the dice, let's see, where am I going with this? Like there's 8 possibilities, but for the greater than 5, you only had 3 out of 8. And then to make that a complete 1, there has to be 5 other 8s. So the rest of the possibilities, and together when you add up all those up, you get 1.
And so question 6 is asking what's the probability of getting anything that's not 6, 7, or 8.
Right. So that's 5 out of 8, or 0.625.
Yeah. I just think of it as like you got the dice in your hand and you're going to roll it, and you can get anything, right? And anything that you get is going to be 1/8 of that. And so anything less than 5, you're going to have 5 out of 8 possibilities.
Okay. That makes sense, I guess. But let me process it in my brain and maybe it makes sense.
One thing that helps as well is to remember for probability, it can never be a negative number.
Okay.
So it's not going to be less than 0, but it's also never going to be more than 1.
Okay, that's rule number 1.
Right.
Right?
Right.
The probability of an event is a number between 0 and 1.
Exactly.
Okay. So it'll be point whatever, because they don't want it in per fraction form, they want it in the decimal form, I'm assuming.
Well, just think of something smaller. Like you don't necessarily have to think of the dice. Like think of like a coin. You're either going to get heads or tails, so it's a 50-50 chance, right?
Right.
But 0.5 and 0.5 equal 1.
Okay. That makes sense. I don't know. You add in a 6-sided dice or a blah, blah, blah. I don't know. It gives in that whole fraction thing, and I was never good with fractions. Okay.
Is there anything else you guys want to discuss from the preparation?
No, that actually made sense. I just was like, I was confused. But I think I understand it better. So it's helpful that this group has been helpful because things made far more sense. Because I don't know, for some reason my husband is not able to like explain it to me on a level that I understand it. He explains it on a level that he understands it. So his learning level is way higher than mine. So that's just how he explains things. So it gets very frustrating and I don't understand it. And then it's like, whatever, I just tune him out. Don't learn anything. So this is far better. You guys have been able to explain things to me that I actually understand them. So we're good.
Okay,
Which means I should be able to do my tests and stuff on my own without going, what did I learn this semester?
Did you do okay on the last week's homeworks for lesson 2 and 3?
I did. It wasn't perfect. It's been about what we got on the group quiz, which means I failed up on a couple of the answers, but it's been like an 80%, which is still pretty high considering.
That's good. Did you take both of your attempts? Did you like?
No, I'm just like, because I've got 3 kids and not always a lot of time to.
Yeah.
I've only got a certain amount of hours strength and day to do it.
I understand what you mean.
At me.
I have so much homework. I don't have time to like go back and retake certain quizzes.
Right.
So.
All right. Well, should we get going on the group quiz?
Yeah.
I got mine open. I've opened my answered the first two the participation ones.
Okay.
Let's see. I can read. I'll read the first question. It says, use the following information to answer the next 3 problems. Human blood can be classified into one of our basic types, O, A, B, and AB. proportion of people in the population with each of these blood types is summarized in the following table. O is the most
Blood
probable.
type O with a proportion of 0.45. Blood type A, proportion of 0.4. Blood type B, proportion of 0.11. AB, 0.04.
And so question 3 is the blood types and the proportions given in the table above define a probability distribution. It is true because the decimals equal 1.
See, though, the only thing I have with that, though, is so it's saying the blood types and the proportions I guess that's true, yeah. It seemed a little confusing because usually the blood types I thought would have been like the events, and the proportions would have been the probability. But rereading it, I see it now.
Okay, yeah, I think because the proportion, and then on that little graph or the table there, the proportions are the decimals. So in my mind, I say true automatically because they equal 1. So everyone good with that?
Yeah, that made sense to me because I went back to that would fall under rule 2, would it not? That's what I was trying to think about with that. It's true because it follows rule 2 of probability, right?
Says if you list all the outcomes of a probability experiment, the probability that one of these outcomes will occur is 1.
Or did I misunderstand?
I think that the second sentence there, in other words, the sum of the probabilities is 1.
Okay.
Real quick question.
Yeah.
Did you at all figure out how to download the table that you can use for the probabilities?
I didn't know.
I didn't even try.
I was just curious. I was watching the video and they said that you can get it from iLearn, but I wasn't sure where.
Yeah, I remember that in the video too, but I didn't remember.
Okay. No biggie. So question 4, what is the probability that a randomly selected person in the United States has type O blood? Round to the 2 decimal places.
My understanding is 0.45.
That was my understanding, but I tried putting that in, and it's valid.
After you save it?
Yeah.
That's weird, because mine's saved.
Yeah, so did mine.
There were one error found in the information that you submitted. Must be a valid number.
Well, it asked for 2 decimal places, so...
Right, and you put 0.05, or not 0.05, 0.45.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it still shows that for me.
Like a space or something in your answer bar? Or I don't know. I mean...
No? I don't have any extra spaces.
Weird.
You put the decimal point though, right?
I did.
Yeah, for some reason it won't accept my decimal point. I put in 4.5.
We were having this trouble last week with one of the problems too. It wouldn't take the same things that Jacob and I were entering and were able to save. And
yeah, I wonder.
Thank you, Nick.
I don't know because
you should
the decimal.
Contact the technology services or whatever. I mean, that's weird.
Yeah. Okay, here's what's really weird. This doesn't make any sense. So I put in the decimal point, and it says it's invalid.
Right.
But if you put the comma, that worked fine.
Oh, weird.
Something's screwy with your computer.
So you didn't put the period, you just put the comma?
Yeah, I put the comma. The period shows up with that invalid, I think I'll contact the teacher and let him know, because that can't be something wrong on my computer.
Right.
That would have to be something wrong in the system, like on iLearn.
See, and that's just silly. Like, why? It's silly that you're having that problem, and like, your other two teammates or your other group members are not.
Yeah. Anyways, I was just curious if anybody else
No,
had
that's
an issue.
yeah. So this is where I get lost on question 5. What is the probability that a randomly selected person will not have type O blood? How, without telling me the answer, how do we get to the answer? Because I
So all you have to do is you kind of like, you're going to add everything together except the type O blood.
Or yeah, just start from the number 1 and then just subtract 0.45.
1 minus 0.45, and that'll give us the answer.
Because that is the probability, or that's the.
That's like the probability of getting something else that's not type O.
So everything else. So 0.55, or sorry.
Which is funny because I tried the same thing again with the decimal point and it didn't work, but the comma did.
Yeah, there's
that's weird.
something messed up for you.
Definitely, yeah, either contact like the technology services or the teacher.
Yeah. We'll see if I get the question right or not, because if I don't, that will irritate me.
Yeah. Can we all agree on 0.55?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, so because it doesn't, because you can't have it, if this is me trying to understand everything, based on what you had said earlier, like because it can't be higher than 1, you subtract 1 minus, because it gives us the O type blood is 0.45, and we want everybody else.
Right. So think of 1 as representing everybody with blood, and then you just getting rid of the group O, and then the number left over. Yeah.
That makes sense. I'm just trying to so if I stop this, and I don't want to take too much of everybody's time, but I want to be able to also understand.
You're good.
What we're doing too. Okay, so now we get more information.
All right.
New information.
Someone want to do that, or I can.
Whoever, or do you want me to?
I'll go ahead and do it. Carolyn Willis and her colleagues conducted a study in which dogs were trained to detect bladder cancer. The dogs were trained to lie down next to the specimen derived from a bladder cancer patient. Tangle, one of the dogs, demonstrates the identification of a specimen. 7 bowls containing urine were lined up in a random order. 6 of the samples were from patients who did not have bladder cancer. 1 of the samples came from a person identified as a bladder cancer patient. So, if the dogs guess at random, what is the probability that they will correctly identify the dish containing the specimen from the bladder cancer patient?
So that would be 1. So it's 1 out of
1 out of 7.
7. And that'll get his round answer to 3 decimal places.
So 1 out of 7 should be 0.14285714.
So it says round to 3 decimal places, so 0.143.
143.
Yep.
Okay. I'll go ahead and do the next one. There we go. In a combined total of 54 trials, the dogs correctly identified the specimen from the cancer patient 22 times. It is very unlikely that the dog would do this while by random chance alone. Which of the following statements is most appropriate? This provides strong evidence that dogs can can detect bladder cancer, or there's little evidence.
All right, you guys paused for a second. So did you just read the question?
I did. So 54 trials is
Uh-huh.
what the did, and they correctly identified the specimen from the cancer patients 22 times. It is very unlikely that the dog would do this well by random chance alone. Which statement is most appropriate? That they can detect strong evidence that they can detect bladder cancer, or little evidence that they can. Based on this, if it's not by random chance, it would be that they can detect it, is what I'm reading, but I could totally be off base.
I think because it's less than 50%, there's little evidence. That's what makes sense in my mind.
Okay.
Because if you're thinking about it, you have 54 trials. Each trial, if we're going off with that question above read, that there's 7 bowls for each trial.
Oh, okay.
That's like 7 people times 54, and the dog gets like 22.
That makes.
I mean, not that that's like the math that you use, but
No, that makes more sense.
how I see it is there's a lot of people, and the dog got it right 22 times.
So, we good on saying there's little evidence?
Yes.
I am.
Okay.
It made more sense once you explained it.
Oh, M&Ms, yay.
Yay.
They're small little candies.
It's funny just because I was watching the video in which they talked about the M&M.
Uh-huh.
Well, I find it funny that they have to tell us that they're small chocolate candies.
Yeah. The M&M website previously indicated that in the United States, the distribution of colors in a bag of plain M&Ms is given in the following table. Brown with like 13.13, yellow 0.14, red 0.13, blue 0.24, orange 0.2, and green is unknown.
So let's add all those up first.
So add them all is what you're saying?
So yeah, add them all up together. If you add brown through orange all up together, you'll find out if you subtract it from 1 what the green is.
Okay, but is that what it's asking? It's asking about red.
Well, it's still good to know.
Okay.
It does ask.
Yeah, we know what the green, yeah.
Okay, no, I just was trying to follow your train of thought. I mean, it's not that I'm saying you're wrong. I just...
No, I didn't take that to offense or anything.
Oh, I was so wrong. So wrong.
So 0.16 is what I got for green.
I'm still calculating, and apparently I can't calculate.
Sorry, I'm just writing it all down.
Okay.
So...
So yeah, question 8 is just asking for red, and so you just go up to that table and look at red.
The 1 minus.
So you said you had got 1.16?
0.16, yeah, for green.
Okay.
Just so we know what it is.
So what, I subtract that from 1?
No, you don't have to subtract it.
Those are the probabilities from 1.
So it's trying to trick us, and it did a good job.
So question 8 to me is just 0.13, right?
Yeah, that's what I did.
That's what I'm seeing. It's trying to trick us. It's saying,
yeah, so
here's all this information you need. Question 8. If you reach into a bag, what's the probability of drawing a red color?
And it's right there for you. All right.
It answers it for us, and that's fine. I just was thrown off because... Okay, here we go. What is the probability that a random selected candy is green?
So did you get how we got 0.16 for that?
Yes, you calculate all of those, each of the ones from the other colors, and then subtract it from 1.
Right. Yep.
And then question 10 is what is the probability that a randomly selected candy is not green.
So it's just the sum of all the other colors.
0.84.
Yep, 0.84. Wish the rest of the class was going to be this easy.
What?
I wish the rest of this class was going to be like this easy. Like, count the M&M colors.
Don't tell me, like, no, never mind. I'm just kidding. Like, classes are meant to challenge our brain, not to be pieces of cake. They're not all supposed to be word courses. I understand that.
Right. All right. So, who wants
I'll
to
go ahead and read this.
Yeah, go ahead.
The ACT scores of students admitted to a medium-sized public university in the Western United States were taken from kpex.com. The following summary statistics were calculated. The mean is 24.3, standard deviation 4.3, variance 18.6, minimum 14, Q1 22, median 24, Q3 27, maximum 35, interquartile range is 5. So half of the observations are less than or equal to what number? And I guess this is for review.
I guess I don't understand what they're asking.
Let's see.
I would go off the median on this because the median is the middle number.
Right.
So at least half are going to be less or equal to 24. That's
right. Gosh, I'm wondering. So the maximum is 35.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess maybe, I don't know. This is weird. I want to be like half of 35 would essentially be, 22.5, or not 22.5, but 17.5. And then half the observations are less than or equal to. So I guess like look up the observations, just kind of write them out. And half of the observations are less than, so we have to make sure that like, at least half of them are either less than or equal to a certain number. Which we know like 4.35, those would be less than.
I feel like not. Okay, let me read the question again.
Yeah, I'm lost as to what they're like, what it's trying to get at. Like, I don't.
So, will you explain what you were saying again, Nick? Because in my
mind, I'm saying,
okay, good.
So, question 11 says half the observations are less than or equal to what number? So, if we look at the observations, we have 9 observations total. You have the mean, you have the standard deviation, variance, minimum, Q1, median, Q3, maximum, interquartile range. And then what I'm doing is I'm just putting those in order. So you would go 4.3 is your standard deviation. 5 is your interquartile. 14 is next. And then, so whatever number 5 is would be like the halfway point. And so half the observations are less than whatever's lower than that.
Because the way that I'm interpreting this table is just like they don't give you the number of like statistics that were like calculated, or let's say the ACT scores. That just like if you were to line them all up or whatever, I'm focusing on the median, I guess, and I don't know if that's right because I figure if you were to like line all the test scores up like numerical order, if 24 was the middle, at least everything has to be like 24 or below, I mean, that's how I interpret the question. Half of the observations, but I don't know if are all of those things in that graph, are those considered the observations, or is all of them?
I would say that they're observations. That's what I would say personally, because I mean, they give you a number and everything. So ACT scores of students admitted to a medium-sized public university in the Western U.S. were taken from kpex.com. The following summary statistics were calculated. I would say that these are the observations, because it says half the observations are less than or equal to. I mean, it's hard to say because you can't really input the data because you don't know all the scores. Like, it would just be a giant guessing game to figure this out, to get it to line up perfectly.
What do you think, Kim? What's your...
I don't know. I'm so stumped. It's not making sense to me. It just, like, I don't know. This is where I don't feel like I can contribute because I don't know what it's saying. It doesn't, like, make sense because I don't know totally what it's asking. Like, half the observations are less than or equal to what number? Like, I feel almost like, because I can't understand it, it's missing information, but I can just not be understanding it.
What about what was your answer, Nick? What would you give for an answer?
If I were to put in an answer, I would say half the observations are less than or equal to 22. Because you have 4 numbers that are less than 22, 4 numbers that are greater than 42, 22 being in the middle.
Okay.
And so if you do like half the observations, 22 can be equal to itself.
Right.
And so that would be 5 out of 9 or 4 out of 9.
Okay. What do you feel comfortable putting, Kim?
That makes sense. Like, I looked at the table and but I guess it could go either way based on what he's saying.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like I said, to me, the median is what sticks out to me because, like, everything's got to be at least 24. And then, so at least half is going to be at least 24 or less, and then the other half is going to be 24 or greater. But that's just me. I don't know. Do you want to put 2 different things? And
I'm fine with putting 2 different things. I mean, especially if we are able to retake this again, you can always just go back and redo it.
Well, are we able to on the group meeting quiz?
Very good question.
I think it's only 1 attempt allowed. I'm not sure.
I'm checking right now.
Okay. I mean, but I think in the instructions for the course it says, like, if you want to, like, put a different answer than the rest of your team, just be really sure of your answer.
Right. Two attempts are allowed.
Oh, for the group meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good to know.
So I'll go ahead and do my 22, and then you can do your 24.
Yeah,
and we'll see.
put 24, and then Kim, you're free to put whatever you want.
You could put 5 if you want, Kim.
Put 5.
I could put 100
right,
if I want to, based on that. It would just not be relative to what we're answering. Speaking of which, like, the next question, 12 doesn't make sense to me either.
Okay.
Based on the information on the table above, the top 25% of the students scored above what number? So, if I remember correctly, ACTs, isn't it the higher the score, the better you did?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
like,
then,
and ACT scores were just like that. They're like, I'll be honest with you, it shows you how well I tested on ACTs. I think I got a 17. That's not very high.
Come in.
So it's just like an ACT score is like there's really not you don't get a 24. I mean, I know they're obviously averaging numbers to get all that information, but like it's just a 2-digit answer versus the SATs, which are like 1,500 or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't. It's asking which.
So based on the information,
top 25 scored above what?
So if I think like the minimum is the like 14, maximum is the 20 or the 35. So maximum would be like 100%.
So 25% of that would have scored
Q3, so the 27.
Q3. The answer is the number.
That's what makes sense to me. So, based on
that 27, right?
The top 25% of the students scored above what number? 27. That's what makes sense to me because of the quadrant 3. Or if that would make
right. See, I'm still trying to understand that whole.
Does that make sense to you, Nick? Or I mean,
yeah. So the way I understand it is like minimum essentially would be like 0.
Right.
Q1 is 25%, median is 50, Q3 is 75, maximum is 100.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're trying to figure out how many, the top 25%, that's going to be Q3.
Okay. Because they're saying 25%. It's saying that 25, if I'm understanding the quartiles right, 25% of people and higher.
Like the top 25 would be like 75, between 75 and 100.
Okay.
Right. So
between 27 and 35 for this particular.
Right. So yeah, the max score is 35, and then kind of like the 75% to the 100%, like the top people, is between 27 and 35.
Okay.
So we all comfortable putting 27 there?
Yes.
Yep.
For number 12, okay.
13 is just which of the following statements is not one of the 3 rules of probability.
If the probability is high, then the probability is positive. If the probability is low, then the probability is negative because there are no negative numbers with probability.
That's the one I chose.
Sorry, which one did you choose?
The middle one, the one that says like positive and negative in there.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay, so yeah. That should be good.
All right. Let's make this.
Let's see how we did.
We have gotten 2 wrong.
Here we got 7 wrong.
No, we got everything right but 2 questions.
But yeah, we didn't get 7 right, and then
which is weird. The comma worked, and I got points for it. So
did you get 11 wrong then?
I got 11 wrong is 22.
Okay, yeah, and I got that right, so 24.
24. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So now I know what it means.
So yeah, I got a 93. I don't know if I want to go back and attempt and change that one to that other one or
I
what.
am still going back to do it right now.
Too?
Well, but what if it changes? What if they change the questions on you?
I'll tell you in a second if they change the questions. Usually what they do that I've noticed is if you're retaking it, they mix up where like a multiple choice question was. So like if
right.
the multiple choice was like the first option, sometimes it's like the third or the fourth. That's how they try to trick you. Let's see. And then strong evidence. Yeah, so it's in the same spot for strong evidence. And then 11. Yeah. Cool. Well, I think that's it then.
Cool. Does you have any questions on anything else?
No, that I think that makes sense.
I'm going to stop the broadcast right now. I think we'll still be on Hangouts, but
Oh, you will, because we were on Hangout